Ooh, welcome everyone. Kind of like the 666, the sign of the devil. By the time you watch this, it is the 2nd of February, 2022. The way Two Face would like this. Now, let's get a little Two Face theme here.
Listen to chill.
Sorry, we had to have a commercial before the damn theme here. Yeah, so this is also the 80th anniversary of Two Face. Actually, the 80th anniversary is going to be in August. So that's going to be important. So, what's my memories of Two Face? My honest memories, because I never knew this character existed, but I saw the toy from Toy Biz way back in 1990 or 1989, because that's when the Batman movie came out. So I remember the toy, maybe one or two of the comics, and obviously in the animated series, of course, the great Radomski version and the later one, an offshoot of the Billy D. Williams character in the original Batman movie. So a little bit of the history. This is the first appearance of Harvey Dent. That would be Detective Comics 66. Now, I think this was he was based upon, created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from the original novel back in the 19th century. So I don't know much about this stuff. I followed it because of Batman Forever. We'll go into a little bit of that. But the obvious story was that Sal Maroni was a criminal that Harvey Dent was going to put on trial, and was going to put him away forever for crimes that we knew he committed, but he was trying to cover it up because he was a corrupt piece of shit that tried to own the police and stuff. So Sal Maroni got revenge and threw acid in Harvey Dent's face, and then half of his face turned green, and he made a decision. Like, he scarred one side of the coin and then decided to flip the coin. If it landed soft side up, he would live a life of being a lawyer, being an attorney, be a law-abiding citizen. If it landed scarf side up, he would commit crimes. Of course, what happened is he decided to become a criminal. That's the legend of Two-Face. Now, there were other following issues. For a while, Harvey Dent what happened at the end of the first story in Detective Comics was that Harvey Dent was cured of his scar. He got his skin grafts. He became Harvey Dent again, and there were imposters. So there were newer Two Faces, but then eventually he came back. Now this is like the new crimes of Two Face. So this was a new character. Now Harvey Dent was originally going to be called Harvey Kent, but they didn't want it to be Clark Kent's brother. So this was still a part of National Comics. So they changed it to Dent, which worked because of the dent in the coin, the dent in his face. So it was kind of a happy accident. He became Harvey Dent by the publication. So this was like a reenactment. This was an actor. Paul Sloan became the second Two-Face. 2 for 2, I guess. But there were imposters. And so something went wrong. And so this is a reenactment of the original Detective Comics 66. So he ends up looking like Two-Face. And eventually he gets cured in this one. But it was the next one that brought back Harvey Dent. So it wasn't until like 1953, about 12 years after his debut, that he would come back. So there was an accident. He's walking down the street like nothing happened. The strange career of Two-Face, right? And then there's an explosion that goes on, something that happened here. Robbers, it was like trying to break open a safe. And he's like, that settles it. This proves I was meant to be a criminal. Fate has declared it. My doctor has warned me against any future accidents. I'm doomed to look this way for the rest of my life. And he's like, all right, if that's the way it must be, I'll give it the final test. So he does, and of course he goes back to being a criminal. The evil face up. And I think he disappeared for a long time after Batman and Robin stopped him. Now keep in mind, during the 1960s, he was absent. You notice that he wasn't in the Adam West Batman series because I guess his face would be too creepy. And for about 50 years, you wouldn't see Two-Face in the Adam West, Burt Ward universe of Batman and Robin. Not until 2017. But for now, we go all the way ahead to the 1970s. Now this was dealing with Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams brought back Two-Face in a more deadly fashion, more gruesome than before. And during those 70s, People thought Batman and Robin were just these hokey, funny cartoons from the Super Friends and Scooby-Doo. But this was the comic book side in the 1970s. And those who read comic books back in the 1970s knew that the Tim Burton-ish Batman that you would not see for another 18 years or so, you wouldn't see that. So for a while, Two-Face was, trying to, oust Batman and Robin. It was always like going on these daring crimes that involved the number 2. It wasn't until you got to the Batman, you got a sense of what Harvey Dent was supposed to be, even if Billy D. Williams didn't fully play the role, and the role was race swapped for Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. It was kind of campy. And it wasn't until you got to the unmatched, really great origin of Harvey Dent in the Batman The Long Halloween, written and published in 1996. Really, if you want to see the best origin story, even more than Dark Knight, go to this series if you haven't already. This is the best interpretation of Harvey Dent, by far. And even the animated series had the best interpretations of Harvey Dent and Two-Face when he was going to go for surgery and Two-Face rescued Harvey Dent, kidnapped Harvey Dent. So it was a different thing altogether. But of course, when you get to the Dark Knight, you have Aaron Eckhart's interpretation of it. He started out, as this, fledgling district attorney, and the way Aaron Eckhart did it was very good. A bit shady, but again, he was somebody who had to clean up, his job was to clean up the city. And when he became Two-Face, first he was like really angry that Rachel had died. So it wasn't just about the coin. It wasn't just that he turned ugly, but that Aaron Eckhart had lost Rachel. And I said, yes, that was great. I was really happy at that moment. That the character development was very well done. Probably Long Halloween is much better than that. And even sometimes the animated series with Richard Mall, having done the voice of Two-Face. And that character build-up was good too. So between a Long Halloween animated series and The Dark Knight, you get some really good interpretations of it. So, but I ranked Long Halloween to be the best. But this was such a great movie. You had Joker and you had Two-Face. That was some great depictions right there. Now he's had some merchandising, toys, more comic books, the Arkham trilogy. I think Arkham City and Arkham Knight. The New 52, which was a few years ago, last decade. Harvey Dent was scarred by twin sisters. So one sister died, and another sister. The two sisters were crime bosses. So there was no Sal Maroni. One plotted to kill Harvey Dent after the death of her sister. So there was, So what happened was, okay, this is confusing for me. Erin, I think, who was the one sister, scarred Harvey Dent and killed his wife, Gilda. So I remember The Secret Origins in 1988 covered a lot about what Two-Face and his wife Gilda, and that they were going to have twins. I never finished a story called Two-Face Strikes Twice, in which there was a 1950s version of like a Dick Sprang version of Batman and Robin, and a 90s version of Batman and Robin, the Tim Drake stuff. There's different things going on. Gilda was the most important woman in his life in the comic books. She was also Holiday in Long Halloween, in case you haven't read it. I don't know what to tell you. And watch the cartoons. But yeah, New 52 had a weird origin story. In the Earth 1 series, Batman, Harvey Dent was the brother of Jessica Dent, a childhood friend. So, God damn these notifications. Anyway, Harvey Dent and his sister Jessica were friends with Bruce Wayne when they were kids. There was always a story about Bruce Wayne and his mother. His grandfather had committed suicide at Arkham. So there was a connection between his mother, Bruce Wayne's mother, his grandfather, her father, and Arkham Asylum. And so Harvey Dent told Bruce to stay away from his sister Jessica. Harvey Dent died, scarred on the other side of his face, and he told his sister, "Don't let me die," and his sister became Two-Face. And that was the theme of the third book. So there were 3 books. One was about the Penguin, the second one was about Killer Croc and the Riddler, and the third book was about Jessica Dent being Two-Face. That was an interesting take. Of course, we can't forget Two-Face finally coming into the Batman 66 continuity, and again for the Billy D. Williams character for Batman 89 comic. to me, Two-Face was a bruiser. He was a heavy. Like, he was just this tough guy that would just show you what for. Joker was afraid of him. Others were afraid of him. Batman was afraid of him. But he wanted to help him. Because in the comic books, Harvey and Bruce were friends. And even in the animated series. So when you think of 222, I want you to remember that there are two sides to every story. And if you watch this video, watch it and watch it twice.